Well, don't ruin the motor again, because there's a pain in the ass to fix it.
Well, now you know, but now you know
I don't,
how.
well, I'm not going to.
Or you can show me how, and then I can fix it every time.
Take it apart and put your mouth on it, literally.
I do that with all kinds of things.
Well, we've got the episode opening. Welcome to A Star to Steer Her
Hello.
By, episode 81.
Woo! You're so keen on the hello, Chris.
Well, you know, it's just...
Howdy!
How doodly doodly do.
Good morning! In
Hi
case
there.
I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Thank you, Jake.
That's from The Truman Show.
Okay, I was gonna say, that's familiar, but...
I haven't seen that fucking movie in a million
That's
years.
a really good movie.
Is it actually
It's
good?
very
It is
solid.
It is a
'Cause
really
I remember-
solid movie.
So, like, I saw it when it first came out, and I was young, and I was like, I don't understand this really high-level shit that's happening. I came here to see Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's the problem. I think when Jim Carrey first started doing either serious movies or movies,
Less unserious movies.
or movies that weren't strictly like body comedy or mugging, Jerry Lewis bullshit, he got a lot of flack. Like people didn't go for it. So like that movie didn't get a lot of respect. Man on the Moon didn't get a lot of
Oh,
respect.
I actually really liked Man on the Moon.
Man was good, but like just broadly speaking, well, Man on the Moon was still pretty big deal because of that REM song, but.
Yours was a pretty big deal because of that REM song. I don't know, but we have Star Trek episodes to talk about.
Yes, this is episode 81
Woo!
of A Star to Steer Her By.
Are you trying to edit out our art again?
No, I'm Chris.
This is Ames.
This is Caitlin.
And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. That's from The Truman Show.
That's Jake.
No, you can't edit it out. See what I did there?
I don't know. He probably still could.
Put a reference in.
He'll fucking figure out a way.
There's footage from all of the fucking episodes of you saying this is Jake. We can just fit it in.
My name is Jake. The Cable Guy also didn't get a lot of respect. I think Cable Guy's...
You love the table guy.
The Table Guy?
I love the table guy. You love the cable guy.
Oh, it's an underrated film.
I feel pretty strongly about the Sable guy.
This week, we are looking at The Survivors and Who Watches the Watchers. In The
The
Survivors...
answer is pervs.
In The Survivors, the Enterprise is responding to a distress call from a colony on Delta Rana 4, but they arrive seemingly too late.
Whoops.
With the entire surface of the planet decimated. No water, no plants, no nothing, except for one little square of grass and a house.
Not a single luxury.
An away team is sent down, and they discover Kevin and Rishon Uxbridge, supposedly a botanist and a composer, who have survived for reasons unknown. They insist they don't want to go back to the ship. They're happy where they are. Away team goes back up. What?
And speaking of Jim Carrey movies, Rishon is played by
Oh,
the
yeah.
actress who plays Jim Carrey's secretary in Liar Liar.
There we go.
right.
Now it
So
all
Jim
works.
Carrey is officially relevant to this fucking episode of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Huzzah!
I knew it was her right away. She's got a very distinctive voice.
Well, she also looks exactly the same.
True,
because
her
it was
hair's
probably
completely different,
5 years
so-
later.
So her voice tipped me off before anything else.
Oh, I mean, okay.
I also haven't seen Liar Liar in 1,000 years.
Oh, me too.
So the away team heads back up, and the Enterprise is attacked by an unknown alien ship, but
Pity the fool.
its power levels are...
Somebody said the A-team head back up.
Oh my god.
What?
When you said well, the A-team headed back up.
Well, no, Barkley hasn't joined the cast yet.
Ah, that's true.
But they're attacked by an alien ship, but its power levels are sort of laughable, and they give chase anyway, but it managed to keep just ahead of them the whole time, and finally Picard's like, "This is dumb! Let's go back to the planet, I want to talk to Kevin." And Picard talks to Kevin, and then they're attacked again, but this time it actually has damage, and Picard's like, "I have a scheme, but I have to talk to Kevin again." And long story short,
Romance.
after they, it looks like the house has been kerploded, they hang around, the house reappears, Picard beams down and is like, no, I'm sorry, they straight up kidnapped
Yeah.
Kevin and Rashawn. And Picard's like, "Rashawn isn't real, is she, Kevin?" And Rashawn's like, "What?" And
Sean's like,
vanishes.
existential crisis.
Yeah, and she vanishes. And Kevin's all, "I'm actually a crazy, super powerful, immortal being who met Rashawn on Earth and fell in love. And it
And
was
loves torturing Troy.
Yes, well,
But who
he
doesn't?
And then he's like, "But she was killed in the attack, and that made me go kooky, and I killed the Husnock." Picard's like, "Oh yes, the invaders." He's like, No, I killed the Husnock." all of them.
Let's call it what it is. He committed genocide.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Picard is
Mass
like,
genocide.
oh my, okay, we're gonna go. We don't have a law for that. And it's actually more like, no, we have a law for that, but you could fart us out of existence.
We have a law for that, but we don't have the means to enforce.
You have a nice day,
I've seen how
sir.
you dealt with the last people that pissed you off, so we're just gonna go.
Yeah, no, I'd rather run into Q again than you fucking psycho.
Hey, guess what? You'll probably get your wish in no time.
I want to run into Q again as well, but for different reasons.
I would like Q to run into me.
I was like, yeah, damn,
Penis first.
I was about to say, you'd like to have Q run into you, all right.
Here's what's going to happen. They're going to be flying the ship away from the planet, and you'll have Troy, after, she'll be done listening to the music, she'll be sitting there in the bridge, and she'll be like, I know we forgot something. And then she'll go,
I was literally trying to think of how to work that in, so I'm so happy that you just did that. It's so great that we're the same person.
Then there was Who Watches the Watchers, which really wasn't very good.
Lies. It's one of the highest rated.
Wait, that's the high rated one?
I'm curious
Yes.
why you think that movie. That's a great episode, you bozos.
Are you kidding?
Who Watches the Watchers?
You really liked
That's
that?
a classic.
Did we
It's one
watch
of the-
the
it is
same
one of the
episode?
classics.
Maybe we didn't, because that's a great
Yeah,
episode.
I like that episode.
Wow.
Well, I'll describe it and we'll see if maybe we somehow watched the wrong episode. A group of anthropologists are observing a group of proto-Vulcan humanoids on the
We're there
planet
so far.
Mintaka 3. Their holographic system goes wrong after a kerplosion, and, a couple of the locals, one of them sees all this and is like, what the what? And the Prime Directive just goes right down the shitter. One of the scientists, flew out of the thing, and then the Vulcan dude falls and cracks his noodle open, and Crusher is like, I'm a doctor, fuck the Prime Directive.
Well, but
beams
she
him up.
also explained that the Prime Directive was already fucked.
Well, yeah, but Picard still wasn't happy.
Hippocratic Oath supersedes Prime Directive.
But we get our first and
that true?
only reference
I
to
don't know.
Pulaski as she
Yes,
explains
the
how
Pulaski
I gotta do the Pulaski maneuver.
That's where you stuff someone full of crumpets.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, the Pulaski maneuver doesn't take,
It's like the Shocker, but with pastries.
and the Vulcan fella remembers having seen the Enterprise and Picard, and decides Picard is, in fact, their long-forgotten god, the Overseer.
This is why we needed to have kept Pulaski.
And they very quickly establish a cult. And then Picard is like, oh, for Christ's sakes. And they send Troy and Riker down to try to gaslight the people into not being religious.
let's be
That's
fair.
not what happened, though. He sent... Okay. I'm sorry to cut off your thing, but you're explaining the episode wrong. He sent Troy and Riker down...
to assess the situation. That's true.
No. Well, partially, but the main reason they went down there was to find the scientist who fell out the
right.
window.
Parker or
Spencer. Palmer.
But yes, then they resort to
Oddly
gaslighting.
Noah.
That's right. There is gaslighting eventually.
Yes.
To be fair, you said they try to gaslight them. They are successful in gaslighting them. They just don't fall for it. They do a really good job of being like, y'all are fucking crazy. And they're like, no.
And then Picard kidnaps their leader and is like, I'm not a god. And she's like, oh, no, you're not. Wait, yes, you are. Wait, what? And then Picard gets shot by an arrow and she's like, oh, fuck, you aren't a god.
Oh, shit, you got
Oh, no,
blood.
I'm sorry. She watches a guy die. And then everyone else is convinced he's not a god because he gets shot by an arrow. And then there's a lesson of the day moment at the end. Picard gets that thing he hangs over his chair. And for some reason, he has, just the world's shittiest sling.
I feel like somebody was like, on the day they were shooting that scene, they're like, oh, wait, he's supposed to have a hurt shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Crusher could have, okay, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's basically that episode.
Well, let's talk about the survivors first, which I think we all agree was terrible.
Wait, what?
I liked
No,
it.
I was going to say, I really liked
It was
Survivors.
okay. It wasn't my favorite.
Of the two, it was my favorite.
No, I thought this one was really good, actually. I liked it a lot. It definitely confounded me slightly. At first, because Jake, you had said at some point that the crystalline entity returns at some stage.
Yes.
So at first, I thought maybe, because I don't know when it does.
Not for
So I was like, oh, is this the crystal? No, it's not. But then what I had gotten really obsessed with until the reveal, basically. No, until the reveal. I was hung up on something somebody had said about Uxbridge's work being involved with symbiotic plant life. And I was going to be like, oh, fuck, they're like plant clones, almost like the shore leaf planet.
Yes, like McCoy.
So I was waiting for okay, so somehow this guy lived through means God knows how. his wife is... So I did get the idea that he was probably real, but I thought his wife was going to be like a plant clone and something.
A salt vampire.
I think this is one of the better executed mystery episodes.
Yeah.
Because I've seen this episode before, and even I was like, "Whoa, wait, what was the twist?" Like, even during that, I was like, "Wait, I know one of them is an alien, but I can't remember who and why and how it was revealed."
Why does only one of them have to be an alien?
Have to be?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only reason one of them has to be an alien and the other one has to be fake is so that they're forever imprisoned by themselves on a planet.
I think,
but I feel like
from a narrative perspective,
yeah.
I think, well, the fact that his wife was killed is the motivation for his
madness.
Temper tantrum?
Yeah, his genocidal act.
But the Husnak also killed 1,100 fucking people, or 11,000?
15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, everybody
sure.
except for him.
No,
Yeah.
15,000 was the number of Shellyak people. I don't remember how many people were on this
I
planet.
think it was either 1,100 or 11,000.
11,000.
It was thousands. It was multiples of thousands.
Okay.
Many
They
thousands
killed all
of
those
persons
people,
were
and
dead.
he wouldn't care.
Yeah, that was the whole point, is that he abhors
he's a
violence
super
of
pacifist.
any kind.
He's a conscientious objector.
He's a space
Like, he
quaker.
wasn't
to the
like
point of not
he
saving his own fucking wife.
he would have had the power to, he could have just made that one ship vanish and saved everybody. I mean, he wouldn't even do that.
You gotta admit, whatever his power level is, it does seem like you think he could have just pulled a Q and not even killed the ship, but
it
just
into the space,
blunked
over
it
to the
like
board.
a month away, and they'd have been like, "We're not going back there."
Yeah. Well, he did say he tried to lure them away.
Oh, did he? I missed that.
He said that he tried. Yeah, he
He tried
tried.
the trick that he did on
He tried
Enterprise.
deception first.
Oh, okay.
Why couldn't he actually bring his wife back to life? How powerful is this guy? Because it seems like
He's
he
not
can't
a god like Picard.
Yeah, well, clearly.
Apparently, he's also not Q level either,
Well,
because
no
Q,
one is Q
Q
level.
could have just rewound time or something.
Yeah, he could have just straight up.
Yeah, Q can bring back the dead.
So, but this guy apparently can manifest.
Destiny.
Yeah,
But yeah, so like wherever he is
whatever
on,
he wants.
in the Star Trek cosmology of like super high level beings, he's probably somewhere above the god we met in Star Trek V, but below Q definitely.
Well, and probably below Apollo as well.
Well, I don't
Or
know.
maybe he was
That one's
one
a
of the
little-
Apollo people.
No, because Apollo needed a power source.
Oh, so he is above Apollo then.
Yeah, he's probably
could
above
he
Apollo.
Could be a Trelane level, possibly.
Yeah,
But also more mature. So
Yeah.
like
He's
Trelane's
Trelane's
mom.
Yeah.
yeah, no, he's probably at or slightly above Trelane, but below a Q.
I think everything is basically below a Q except for maybe Guinan at this point.
So I think having him have all of this power, whether it be below Q, above Trelane, wherever he falls in the absurd amount of power level, he should have been able to do something to the Husnak to make them go away without resorting to any manner of violence, because as I said, he's a space quaker, which is what the writers were going for. Like, his power seemed to change drastically. Like, he would be surprised whenever Picard would come down, and yet he can create a ship that can attack the Enterprise. Like, so how is he not, like, he seems aware yet not aware of things.
I don't think he's omniscient.
Yeah, he's very powerful, but his perception is... Like, if maybe he was actively looking for Picard, he wouldn't have been surprised by his appearance. But he was trying to keep to himself, mostly.
And
And
gave
he-
up after 3 hours
Yeah,
after
he
the house
also
exploded.
didn't. He also couldn't tell. I don't think. Like every time the Enterprise left and came back, he didn't know it had returned. you know? So I don't think he's. I think he when he knows the Enterprise is in orbit, he can create the enemy ship to attack it.
Yeah.
Okay, and the enemy ship is an actual ship. It's not a trickery to the mind.
It's a physical ship, but he did create it.
Okay, but he's not controlling it.
I imagine
This is
he has some control.
Oh, I got so confused on these things. Like with the Husnak, he could have just beamed himself onto the Husnak ship, unplugged their coffee maker, and left, and they'd go away.
I love the idea of that literally being his plan. It's like, bloop, and then, fuck, our coffee! We can't attack without it! Retreat!
Well, he also said that he had renounced his powers.
Yeah, which...
When he assumed human form, he said when he fell in love with his wife, he renounced all of his
Okay.
powers. So it could be that until the tipping point of "you killed my wife," he was sticking to that oath to renounce his powers. So even though he could have
Yeah.
technically done it, he was like the monk with the oath of celibacy until he saw like that nice tight ass.
Is this a fable?
Yeah, the monk that sees the tight ass.
I think
It's an Aesop, isn't it?
You were going for kung fu, but then got a little confused somewhere.
Probably. But yeah, I think that's the idea. I think he's like total Zen master in his human form. No magic. I would say I don't think his wife had any idea that he was not human. And then
even his fake wife that he constructs doesn't seem to know that he's not human, which is weird crazy. Well, like, what did he build? What did he make out of Play-Doh and put in the microwave?
I think he just conjured a exact duplicate of his wife.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Because she was sentient.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't controlling her ever. Like, for a while, because I knew that the twist was going to be, because I read the synopsis first. I knew that the twist was going to be, and I thought that she was going to be, like, a projection of some kind. And thinking to myself, oh, he's so smart that he's using her to throw everybody off the trail. And then you realize, nope, she's just doing this on her own.
Yep.
Wait,
and
so
why
he
doesn't
he was able to create life, but he can't bring someone back from the dead?
Well, I don't think it's real life because he can will it out of existence again. Well, maybe
He could do that with all the people, though.
So
he could do it with every single person that the host not killed.
Guys, he could have just put a fucking dome over everything and reflected the shots.
I mean, he could have, I guess.
That's a good idea.
You could conceive, but again, he renounced his powers. That's why he didn't build a dome or stop the attack.
He was trying to stick to whatever his species version of the Prime Directive is.
Yeah, I was thinking.
I don't think it's his species. I think it's his personal Prime Directive.
I think that this episode suffered from what a lot of episodes seem to suffer from, which is it ran short and it got repetitive. Like, why we gotta visit the farm 6 times?
See, the only thing, the reason it didn't bother me as much with this as it has with other episodes is because it felt like each time there was a little bit more.
Picard was learning like more and more steps. I don't know how the fuck he jumped from, okay, I've met with Kevin a couple times. I like listening to his music box. He's fake, therefore I should let them blow it up.
Yeah, no, that was a hell of a gamble.
Well, I think it was a test. Because
if he's wrong, though, you just got 2 people killed.
Well, sure, but I think
Well, but they were refusing to come anyway.
After the second time they went there, or the second time the enemy ship appeared and actually fired on them, and they left, he realized that it was only after they had gone down to the planet that the ship would come. So he hypothesized that
there was a connection.
There's a connection between talking to Kevin and letting Kevin know that we're up here.
Out of 2 times? No, that's not a pattern. That's a coincidence.
I think, and also you got to add to the fact that every time they come back, the ship is gone and the farm is still there. So if it was actually an enemy ship, it would have also attacked the farm. Or it would have stuck around, or it would have followed the Enterprise.
Or you jump to the more logical conclusion that Kevin and Rashawn colluded with Russia.
In which case, let him get kerploded.
Exactly. So that's why, and that was the genius of his test when he went down to the planet for the last time and said, "The only thing that will get me to leave is if you get destroyed." And then to test that, he allowed the ship to destroy them. Because he basically told Kevin, "Oh, you want me to go away? Here's how to make me go away." And then Kevin did the thing to make Picard go away.
Yeah, so there was escalation within the repetition.
It is somewhat of a leap, and Picard had a lot of balls, and it's hard to say why he didn't explain the plan to the rest of the crew, because everyone else was kind of like, "What the fuck are you doing?
You just let them get killed."
Look,
they might be Russian colluders.
Captain's prerogative is to let the crew sweat a little. Also, it was revenge for every time anyone has ever called him up and said, "Captain, you need to come see this," instead of just explaining the fucking situation over the phone.
But it is, I think it shows, I liked it. I like it as a maneuver, as a Picard maneuver. In that it sort of shows that he does have the gonads when it comes right down to it. That he will risk potentially his entire career. Yeah. I'm sure Starfleet would look none too fondly on Riker's report about the incident. But I thought it worked. Good tea. Nice house.
I loved that.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh, Worf.
With the little cup that was like a little too small for him.
He hated that tea so much.
I also...
Not enough blood in it.
I think he liked it.
No, he made
a
face.
face.
Oh, really?
He like grimaced as he drank. It was like, oh god damn it.
Yeah,
tea.
but don't
This tea isn't poison like the stuff I made Polaris drink.
What I also kind of said to you last night, Caitlin, was it was so weird to have Picard call somebody Kevin.
Like, it's not like a space name.
Oh yeah, like normally, like if you think because he's supposedly a botanist, like normally he would be like, Dr. Uxbridge, but it says Kevin.
It was a little weird.
It just felt strange because normally when he deals with people, if they have a title, that's kind of what he defaults to. I feel like hell, Star Trek in general does that. So the fact that he was just Kevin, I'm just like, this is weird.
Well, plus it's like by the 24th century, you feel like the name Kevin is no longer going to exist.
I mean, everything comes back.
Sure.
Now.
I mean, Jean-Luc still exists. That barely exists now.
And French is a dead language, so it's especially confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like
good old Bill Riker.
I liked his shirt too. I liked the kind of
The
asymmetry.
clasps,
Yeah. And I liked Rashawn's dress.
Oh, Chris hated her dress.
Really?
No, you didn't like Troy's dress.
Yeah, I hated Troy's dress.
I like Troy's dress too.
I don't
If
know.
I had Troy's taut little figure, I'd be all over that shit.
Well, speaking of Troy,
Do we have to?
she hears the music.
And goes, cuckoo pants. That was kind of fucked up.
I mean, to be fair, so would you, though.
No, I know.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. It was actually genuinely kind of fucked up.
You only get what you get. I got the music in you. Whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
Troy
don't
was
know words.
Troy was
Bullshit
weird.
song.
Troy was weird when she first started hearing the music, in that she just hid it and like pretended it wasn't happening for a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
Oh, she
And I'm
seemed
like,
to be
Troy,
like high
Troy.
on it.
Tell fucking Crusher what's going on.
I think-
I don't know what she'll
I
do
mean-
for you, but you fucking tell someone.
Yeah, but can you imagine if you were a doctor? Imagine you're a doctor and someone goes in and says, I got a song stuck in my head. Like, what do you do for that? I don't think Troy realized until it was too late that it was a serious problem.
I mean, fucking woman barely knew how to deal with a headache when Picard had one.
Or the common cold.
Yeah.
Or, anything else.
But yeah, it was a little funny. Like, just like, I'm gonna go. I feel like,
And then she's freaking out in her mirror until her little doorbell knocks or whatever, and she's like, nope.
Let me straighten up my hair. I don't want
Yeah.
to.
No
one will know.
I gotta keep up appearances.
I remember I said at the time, too, and she was like, I'm not feeling well. I'd like to go to my quarters. And because, of course. She's like, of course. I mean, I only actually invite you to these things because regulations require I ask all senior officers if they want to come. I could give a fuck if you're in the room, frankly.
Did you notice that at that meeting, Riker was staring at Troy the whole time? He was staring fucking bullets into her
Yeah,
as
yeah,
she's
he
like
was.
silently freaking out. And I'm thinking, Riker's gonna ask, because he knows Troy. He knows Troy biblically. He's gonna ask her, Troy, something's up with you. What's going on? And nothing. Fucking Riker.
He was also...
Worst ex-boyfriend ever.
He probably was just looking at her tits.
Yeah.
He wasn't even paying attention to the fact that her face, that she was zoning out. He was just like...
He was also, I don't know, I guess Frakes maybe was having a particularly bad day, because even for him, he was sitting at a really weird angle.
The better to see down her tits with. By whatever I mean.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought it felt like a B plot, but it wasn't ultimately a B plot.
It was the answer to why doesn't Troy figure this out?
So I'm glad
And
that they at
figured
least
out a way
made
to do
an
that.
effort to
Yeah, for once it wasn't...
neutralize Troy.
Yeah, it wasn't just her powers are on the blink again.
Yeah.
It's someone is actively fighting against her.
Yeah, if this had been a season 1 or season 2 episode, A, Marina Sirtis wouldn't have been in the episode, and that solves the problem. Or B, they just would her powers would have not.
Yeah, they would have been
worked
on the
this
fritz.
Yeah, they would have been like, oh no, she has her period. She can't
or just
tell now.
some weeks she has full on telepathic abilities. Some
Yeah.
weeks she has barely an inkling that you're sad if you're crying.
I can tell you're frowning. What does it mean?
Well, see, if it's Worf, God knows.
If it's Worf, he just enjoyed a cup of tea.
So what was that? The one where, what's her name smashes the shit out of the table? And she's like, oh, you're upset?
The emissary.
Oh, you're saying that because you're reading my mind? No, asshole, I see the mess you just made.
No, she replaces the tabletop with a bunch of thin, broken shards.
Really, it was just redecorating.
Yeah.
You know what I found odd? The Uxbridges have a tiger trap, not a tiger trap, a foot snaring trap. What are those?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Snares?
Yeah.
Like a snare just in their yard
like an
for Riker to
actual
get
snare.
stuck in.
Yeah, which is pretty
but,
funny.
Like, what was the... That is actually very odd.
How do you
very
harvest
odd.
tea?
Because
I wait for the tea monster to walk into my yard and I trap him.
Maybe that's how it works on
And
that
then
planet.
trim his pubes and soak them in water.
Steep them for 5 minutes. but no more, or your tea will taste like dicks.
That's right.
I mean, that's the thing, though. We don't know much about what this world was
Also
like
balls.
before it was decimated. Maybe they had a predator issue.
The thing is, it's decimated. Why put the trap back in your fake yard that you've basically created on your own?
Good point.
And are you expecting someone to come down and get trapped in it?
Also, it's never...
Also, Riker, fucking bad footing, buddy.
And it's never explained, it's never addressed, why was the trap there in the first place? Like, were they just like total recluses that didn't want people visiting?
Since we don't know what the planet was like before, there may have been a legitimate reason for it. Again, they could actually have a genuine like predator problem.
Yeah, but it wouldn't.
Maybe there was a Grim running around
There's
crimming.
better
But
ways
the
to
snare
catch a
wouldn't-
predator from like.
Yeah, like act like a 12-year-old on the internet and invite them to your house. You said to catch a predator.
Have a seat right over here. Yeah.
Gross.
I mean, yeah, honestly, that is definitely a case of
They wanted to add some action to the
they
plot.
they wanted a joke, and so yes, reality or sense took a back seat to wouldn't it be funny to dangle Riker upside down?
Maybe him and his wife are primals, and he likes to catch her in a trap before cutting her down and fucking her.
Maybe.
I'm sorry, is that a real fetish?
Sure, there's something.
Is
like
there?
that.
Is what a real fetish?
Primals?
Yeah.
Jesus. Not to
monkey
kink
sex?
shame, but Jesus, I'm just learning about this.
One Riker, one dick.
Yeah, that's about right.
Great.
Oh dear.
We went there. That's
We
great.
did.
Yeah,
We
but
did.
yeah, that was a little. That felt like a little like, oh boy, a little slapstick to start us off.
Yeah, a little TOS.
And also like the type of trap it was, the old catch around the
Yeah.
foot thing. That type of trap is designed to be a simple device, that you have like a branch or something.
But they've
There
got
was
this whole
nothing.
But there's
mechanical
there's like
flagpole.
some underground device
Yeah.
that has enough like a pneumatic piston or something that can lift the thing 10 feet in the air.
It's actually one of those amusement park rides that like goes all the way up and then drops really suddenly.
Yeah.
It's actually one of those.
So it's like it's not just it's a needlessly like for the amount of effort put into rigging that particular trap.
Yeah.
They could have just set up like
A fence.
I don't know, a humane trap or a fence,
Some
or,
sort of low-level stun field.
yeah.
Maybe that's just it's a post-scarcity economy.
I mean,
I don't know.
I guess it is true though that Kevin. They do kind of address that Kevin is paranoid of outsiders because after they get trapped, he confronts them
Oh, yeah.
with a gun. Maybe here's a possible explanation. Maybe the
Unloaded.
Hoosnack, they are the types to be incapacitated by such a trap.
Maybe.
So maybe those traps are rigged to catch Hoosnacks.
I don't know.
My favorite kind of snacks.
I feel like the Hoosnock just shoot you from space.
Yeah, but they're...
I don't think
Like last year, not last week with Data's girlfriend.
I thought there was a ground assault because they talked about the colonists going off
to fight. Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So there must
So I
have been
wonder
some
what
kind of
happened.
ground assault. of
Yeah.
some kind.
Then why is everything gone?
Maybe afterwards they...
Maybe they pillaged first and then did a mop-up job with an aerial assault. Nuke it from orbit. I don't know.
Yeah. So, or, I mean, maybe it's just... Maybe the planet was fucked up, but not fully decimated until Kevin snapped.
It occurs to me that this episode and Ensigns of Command could be two alternate versions of the same story.
Yeah, there's thematic connections, definitely.
Pre and post Shellyak coming in.
Yeah.
I know, they missed a perfect opportunity to already bring back the Shellyak. They could have been like,
Seriously.
I made the Shellyak disappear, all of them. It's like, oh, great, so now we won't ever ask the question, why do we never see this villain again? Which I was certainly asking.
Yeah.
They weren't very good villains, were they? They were just bureaucratic, annoying assholes.
Yeah.
Get enough of that in real life. This is science fiction, goddammit.
Plus, we all know the best bureaucratic enemies in Star Trek are from Starfleet or their Federation
I was
observers.
going to say the Ferengi.
Yeah,
but
I was thinking the Ferengi.
I thought you were going the Ferengi route.
No, I was thinking of all the times there's been some sort of observer
No, Williams, he said villains.
I don't think the Ferengi
Please.
are particularly bureaucratic. They're just...
business-minded.
I just think...
Opportunistic.
I just think they're miserly.
Yeah.
They're
I mean, we haven't learned all of their rules.
That's true, yeah, we
They,
haven't...
yeah, they do have a lot of rules of acquisition, but there's not a lot of bureaucracy specifically. The bureaucracy is bribe. You don't have to fill out a form Z296. You just have to bribe the right person.
So yeah, that's a crazy ending.
It's a crazy ending, and then it just ends, and you're like, so we're just gonna leave, and you're like, wow, you're not letting us think about this at all.
Yeah,
Holy shit!
It just kind of like.
Well, because in reality, it's like we were saying, like Picard's log is just like he should be left alone, and it's like no, but really, like, holy shit, leave him alone.
Well, I feel like
what do you do with the
I feel
face
like
of
that planet is gonna make it onto the Talos list.
Oh yeah, guess what? There's 2 death penalties now.
The thing is, now Kevin can just make himself a society of all these people that he can just create. And
sort of like Mud
is he
did.
being punished? I can't even tell.
I think he's in a prison of his own making.
I mean,
it seems like a pretty nice prison.
Well, yeah, but he's obviously tortured.
He gets to waltz with his wife every day.
But he also knows that it's fake, right? Like,
Yeah,
you can't take away the fact that his real wife dead.
Like,
it's fake, but she fucking still has decision-making capabilities.
And
she
them
still
titties.
has conversations.
And a mouth.
Cute dress.
Have you ever heard the legend of
the Hidden Temple?
Kevin the Wise? It's not a story the Jedi would tell you.
But yeah, I mean, I think he gets to live with a scale of regret we can't comprehend for the rest of time. Now, is that adequate? No, frankly. But that's the thing, like, there's literally nothing anyone can do to this man.
But here's the thing, though. Those fucking who's-knacks, they sound like real cunts. So, frankly, I think he did the galaxy a favor. I am pro Kevin. I'm on Team Kevin. Fuck those who-snacks. And take their snacks and eat them somewhere else.
You're saying who snacks, so I just feel like we're about to do a Dr. Seuss story.
Who snacks are these?
That's what I mean, like, there is no...
Who wants snacks? Who snacks? Who snacks?
Like, they didn't try to give it a moral ending. You know, Kevin didn't...
Yeah, instead they did that classic TOS thing where they were like, wow, a catastrophe! Dun, 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 dun.
But, you know, at least it didn't end on a laugh line. It just ended on... Oh, wow. This happened. There's nothing we can do. This is horrible. And that, in a way, was more effective. Because, again, they also could have, what I was going to say is they could have made it more moralistic by, like, you know, the one thing that could destroy Kevin is probably...
Love.
Kevin.
Oh.
So he could have, like, disintegrated himself.
Kerploded
but no,
himself.
he still exists.
I don't think he can because he's immortal.
Well, yeah,
even an immortal can't kill themselves.
I don't.
But if he give up all...
But they could have said that for the sake of the story, you know? If they wanted to give it a very tidy, like... But they left this very, like no, this is it. This is the reality of the situation.
But also then they'd sort of be glorifying suicide, which I'm sure in the late 80s they would have been.
Yeah, but then you get, it gets complicated again. He's killing himself, but for something intensely horrible he did.
Mm-hmm. I did read that the actor John Anderson, who played Kevin, almost turned down the role because, like, within the past year, he had lost his own wife, and the episode was hitting very, very close to home.
Did he commit genocide?
Yes,
as vengeance for the death of his wife.
That's how close to home it was.
The actor Adolf Hitler almost turned down the role.
Oh my god, that's the common theme this week: losing one's wife.
Take my wife.
Yeah.
No, really.
Hey, my wharf.
Oh god, before we move on, because I keep forgetting to mention this, Worf. Again, a very good line from him, talking the gall of trying to hold him off with an empty phaser. It's like, I like gall.
He does. That was cute.
That was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought this was probably my favorite of the season. I mean,
really?
The season's only 3 episodes old.
This is probably one of my favorite ones we've yet seen from TNG.
Really?
I really liked this one.
I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I did like it.
I think the more we talked about it, the more confused I got on elements of it.
That's fair.
I mean, I think like with anything, there's a certain level of you have to
suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Yes,
but I mean,
Picard just knows specifically that the wife, despite being 1,000 years old, went into battle. That's how he gets him. Picard.
1,000 years old.
Look, she's 5? And in space years, that's like 50.
I thought he was 85 and she was
82. They're both in their 80s. I know that much.
They were olden dazers.
Yes.
Well, that's right, because Data read off their fact sheet because he was showing off his Special power.
I memorized.
I
You're a
memorized
computer.
the-
You downloaded it.
I memorized the Facebook. I've been like jacking off to that thing for like 3 weeks.
I mean,
That's another Dead Man on Campus.
in all of this-
reference.
Yes! Holy shit! I forgot that you were my Dead Man on Campus soul sister.
I like that movie.
I
It's
fucking
ridiculous.
love that movie.
Whole sister, go sister.
I've heard the song in years.
I don't remember
Let
anymore.
mama lie down in her Moulin Rouge. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, no, and again,
No, New Orleans. Trotting herself on the street.
But yeah, I like the reveal. I liked the appropriate build-up, and again, I did enjoy the fact that the ending was like, nope, this happened, and we are not putting a tidy little bow on for you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Go right off and go fuck yourself.
I
Is
don't
that
know.
also
I
from
didn't
Moulin
get it.
Rouge?
It was the Moulin Rouge, the chorus
Oh, damn it.
part to it. Because it's like in French, and I have no fucking idea what they say.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
There you go.
Would you like to sleep with me tonight?
Oh, nice.
Is that what that means?
Banging.
Does Picard ever say that? Because
I think he does.
French is a dead language, okay?
Well,
Anyway, let's move on.
Acha.
So you guys really liked The Survivors. Jake and I think, really liked Who Watches the Watchers.
I hated
I'm
Who Watches
curious
the
why
Watchers.
you like. I'm really interested why you guys
I mean,
did not like this episode.
Yes,
because this is
they
one of my
shit-
favorite episodes.
They shit hard all over the Prime Directive.
Oh, no, that I'm fine with.
But I mean, I think the thing is, the Prime Directive was fucked from the beginning, and everything else was trying to bring it back
Everything else
until
was
they're
gravy.
like, well,
By making more and more terrible decisions. Welp! They already know something's amiss. Let's bring them up here! Picard, what are you doing?
I mean, but he does that all the time. They did that with
that's
Sex
true.
Planet
They
Lady.
did that with Justice.
Here's my theory about Picard. I think one point in his past, he got laid after showing a woman a planet out a window, and now every time there's a woman on the Enterprise, he's like, here, let's go look at
That'll
your
get
planet.
me, actually.
And he's gonna pull that shit again in First Contact.
He is. He certainly is.
Aww.
Because he did it to Sex Planet Girl.
Yeah, I'm going to show you where New Zealand used to
He
be.
did it to
Where'd New Zealand go?
fake Vulcan Girl.
There's a fuck up in the
Oh, it's in the movie?
movie. Yeah, they forgot to put New Zealand in.
Alright, we'll get to that in a couple of years.
Yeah, but yeah.
I thought there was a different New Zealand joke.
No.
Hi, Black Cat.
Hi, Black Cat.
You done mating with your
I mean, it was
brother?
a pretty bad war, so.
True. So my problems with this episode, I don't know what Caitlin's problems were. We watched this separately, but my problems were, I feel like the focus was off, the development was poor. There was all the makings of a good episode there, but just off the bat, I think my main problem was just that, again, this is a case where narrative requirements overruled sanity. But it was just a bit too much for me to deal with. It's like, all right, you've got this duck blind. Which duck blinds, as Jake, you explained ages ago in an episode, are just a stupid idea to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, the level of technology they have, they do not have to be on the planet.
Yeah,
So
pointing
just-
their duck blind at the side of a mountain where,
Yeah.
where the people are only rarely going.
Yeah, like, from the off, a duck blind's a bad idea. But if you're gonna have one, you are going to have so many redundancies so that what happened really shouldn't have.
I mean, why would you even have it be a hot... Why wouldn't you just beam out a chunk of rock from inside a mountain, beam your base into the mountain,
Yeah.
and just have sensors...
And
out
cameras
there, you
and
know?
Camera
shit,
traps
yeah.
that they use to watch Siberian
Like,
tigers
like
and shit.
the fact that it's you know, in engineering, there's two ways to design a system. One of them is fail dangerous, and the other one is fail safe. So
Wait, is that true?
yeah, so when you hear the term fail safe, that's what it's referring to. So fail dangerous is when this thing breaks,
It's gonna kill everybody.
the default state is it's unsafe. So you know,
like a nuclear reactor.
yeah, exactly. But that's why you build into reactors and things fail safes. The warp core on a starship is fail dangerous because when it breaks, the ship explodes.
Yeah, no, the only option is eject it.
Yeah.
And hopefully you have the time to do
There
that.
are
then you don't have
nuclear
warp to get
reactor
away.
designs that are fail safe, but that's another topic entirely. But yeah, like the ones at 3 Mile Island or Chernobyl weren't, and evidently Fukushima.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then there's fail safe. But anyway, if you're designing this duck blind, you want it to fail safe.
Yeah.
You want it to fail in such a way that you don't contaminate the culture when the power goes out.
And yeah, like So there was that just from the off. I'm like, oh god, this is a bit much. And then I think it would have been a much better episode, frankly, if even after Palmer was found, there was this tension on the planet between people that... What was his name?
Leto?
Leto was sort of converting...
Lilo and
Liko.
Stitch.
Sorry. Liko is sort of converting and putting to his side, and other people are like, this is insane. I don't know what this guy is, but your story is nuts. And if it had been more the story of, like, this guy who is seeing what he wants because he's desperate because of the death of his wife... Like, they kind of drop hints about it, but even so, like, the escalation at the end is like... I get where it came from, but it still felt a little unearned. Yeah, again, a lot of it seemed to be people making poor decisions, and...
Yeah, I mean, I will agree that this episode has some plot holes, such as...
Involving Troy. No, Troy did a good job this week, actually.
Yeah, no, good for that. Actually
Troy
wrote
was
her
good.
stuff to do for once.
Yeah.
Like, I do think there would have been other ways to get Troy out of the situation that didn't involve Picard shitting, like, taking a big steamy dump on the
At that point, though, like, getting rid of Troy, like, now these people are aware that there is weird magic, and they're contaminated.
Yeah, well, I mean...
And how do you get rid of that?
Because
the Pulaski maneuver doesn't fucking work on
the
them.
Mintakans... I feel like, here's the thing, if Troy and Riker and Palmer had managed to all escape together safely... So, Troy's little, oh, look over there, ruse.
I was actually thinking, someone needs to pull a look over there. Thank you, Troy, you did a thing! You did a thing really well!
But I also, I don't quite know what the plan, well, we'll get to that, but, yeah, I feel like if that had worked, you could say, okay, there's been some moderate contamination with this small group of people, but in time...
Bomb them for space.
It'll just be a story, right? It's not going to rekindle their belief, possibly. So you probably could have ended it there.
Yeah.
But,
and also they probably would have, all gotten over it after they, tried and failed over and over again to appease the Picard, which is not an actual god, and therefore not going to actually do them any favors.
I mean, this is also, not to spoil an episode of The Orville you guys haven't seen, but it's one of the better Orvils, if that helps at all. But, the Orville crew goes down to a planet. I forget why, but they were essentially wandering into an early culture. And someone spots Kelly. Her name's Kelly, I remember. And they get hurt, and Kelly cures them really quick of whatever their scratch was or whatever. And they return because the planet has a very, very fast growth cycle, basically. And they go back, and the whole society has matured over, what's the equivalent of hundreds of years, I think. And they've developed a whole gigantic religion that controls their people around the existence of the Kelly.
Yeah, so essentially the Orville completely copies...
Yeah, they do.
...the blink of an eye from Voyager.
Yeah.
Which is the exact same plot, except the Kelly part, but there's...
Well, the Kelly part is in Who Watches the Watchers.
That's true. That part is. So they made an amalgamation of these two episodes and claimed that they presented it as their own original work. So congratulations.
I mean, that's just fucking Tex-Mex. You're just combining two things to make a new thing to make people full of food.
Yeah, but most people eat Tex-Mex and they're like, I'm eating Mexican food.
Or Asian fusion. Everyone's into Asian fusion when you watch Food Network.
And it's pretty bullshitty because it's
just rice. It's just things with rice.
Yeah, just make it.
A couple of white guys who are like, oh yeah, no, I spent a month backpacking in Bangkok, so I'm totally in touch with the culture and cuisine now.
Yeah. I watched the Travel Channel one time, so now I'm totally Indonesian.
Okay, but here's the thing. I've watched so much Chopped that I think I could be a contestant on Chopped.
That's different than thinking you have the right to open an
I'm also Asian.
They do a lot of specials with amateurs, if you're into that.
Dude, I would fucking love to be on Chopped, but the problem is that I can now look at a basket and say, okay, I know exactly what I would do with those things, but I don't have the technique to back up what I would do.
Yes, but I'll take the entire 20 minutes cutting the carrot, because I'm terrible at cutting vegetables.
The thing about amateur is that the camera angles are always weird. It's always grainy.
It's either it's like the boob job was bad.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. Here's what I think about amateur, is that it's really instead of calling it amateur, they should just call it
home porn.
No, because a lot of times it's still studio produced, I think, and
really?
And it's just they have slightly uglier women. I think that's the difference.
So what should it be?
Like,
called?
they're not quite... And I mean, uglier in relative terms. Because, you know, you can argue about the attractiveness
a lot of porn stars are a little janky.
Okay, we'll say this. It's porn. It's regular studio-produced porn where the makeup budget wasn't as high.
Anyway, pornography aside.
Oh, yeah, back to
pornography corner.
Back to Chopped.
I want to be on.
So, what was? I didn't actually ask you specifically. What didn't you like about it?
I don't know. It felt like a TOS retread.
Really?
To me,
I don't think TOS could handle this.
I'm not sure I could handle it.
I mean, it reminded me. I mean, plot-wise, it has echoes of World is Hollow a little bit. I guess.
Not that one. The one.
Really? How?
Well, because they have to basically convince this society that their god is not really a god.
Okay.
Could it also sort of be the apple in that case?
That's true, but the Apple people were idiots.
Yeah, no, I kind of wanted them to contaminate that culture. That culture sucked.
I mean, I guess there's numerous TOS episodes which center on the plot, convince people that the thing that is controlling them
Return
is
of
not
the
actually
Archon.
Specifically, though, I'm thinking about the one with the woman sorceress, where they're all outdoorsy people.
Oh, yeah, where they kind of do the Vietnam War.
Oh,
yeah, it felt like they were
War,
it felt like they were in the same set.
Yeah, I think Private Little War.
Is that right?
But
yeah.
I think they probably were at the Vasquez Rocks for
yes,
this.
they were, and it was like 100 degrees outside, and everyone was
Oh,
miserable.
those poor Bronze Age.
And because there were like bees and scorpions and shit, they couldn't wear deodorant.
What?
Because it like makes bees want to mate with you.
Vasquez or Velasquez? What is it?
Vasquez.
Jesus, that's another reason to just not hike. Deodorant attracts death bugs?
I was actually really attracted to Vasquez in Aliens.
I don't remember Vasquez.
God damn it, Jay.
Vasquez was the tough Latina.
Oh, yeah.
With the big gun. Yeah.
All right, some of us haven't seen Aliens.
Oh, you
really?
should. It's a good movie.
I've seen 5 movies total.
So here's the thing,
Wow.
frankly speaking. This way I always put it. Alien, the first one, is the better movie. Aliens is more fun.
Alien is survival horror.
Yeah, they're two
Aliens
different
is
genres.
a different
They're
genre.
completely different genres.
But Alien, as far as the first two goes...
That's why everyone else I know says Aliens is better.
Also, Alien is...
way better.
I respectfully disagree. I think it's an unfair comparison.
Well, yeah,
and I also think that
genres.
Alien
Also,
suffers
apples
from
and oranges, apples win.
major pacing issues.
Maybe. I haven't seen it in a long time. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
The plot of this episode was cliche as shit.
There we go.
I'm so sick of things thinking that another thing that they see is God. It just annoys me.
You better get used to that, because I feel like this is going to happen even more.
It does happen.
I'm sure. I just don't like it. I think it's boring. I think it's unoriginal. And I don't enjoy it.
I couldn't listen to OG talk without hearing Bobby Hill, so there's that.
Bobby Hill.
She's the character,
Yeah,
or the voice
actress.
actress of
No
Bobby
shit!
Hill.
OG is the same.
Was that the daughter?
Yeah, the daughter.
Oh, no shit.
Oh
that's
my
funny.
god! I was sitting there thinking, she sounds like somebody.
Oh yeah, she sounds like
Holy
Bobby Hill.
shit! Oh, that was another thing. This is one why I disliked the episode. This is something I noticed. They also half-assed the makeup.
Yes! The makeup was also TOS level. That
There
was
was
the other thing.
a
It looked shit.
The one point I especially noticed was when Picard was showing the leader the planet. They did this, shot of her face from below. And you could see they only did her makeup as far as, the end of her chin, and then her neck was a completely different color.
That's just how women do their makeup.
You know what really speaking of that scene, what really took me out of this episode? When they were in the conference room, the planet was rotating the opposite direction it was rotating in the exterior shots.
I did not notice that.
Maybe that deck is upside down.
No, because I don't think that was...
I think that's how it has to be.
It's fine.
That's her head.
I did not
Because
notice
they were
that,
in the
though,
conference room, which is directly behind the bridge, which is on the top of the ship. So,
But,
Still, gravity could be upside down in that room.
But you guys, you should, now that we've shat on it, I think you should be nice to it. It's been a long time, I think, since we sort of been so diametrically opposed on an episode.
I'm really surprised because I don't know. I like this episode. I guess I'm kind of a sucker for this plot. I don't know, because I don't know, I like these deconstructions of the Prime Directive, even if they do become cliche from time to time. Because you kind of have to say, well, how do you handle this situation? Obviously, the right answer was let Liko die.
Yeah.
Like, that's what should have happened.
And I feel like that could have been a bigger cornerstone. That could have been a longer discussion, maybe.
Well, I think it was a seat of the pants decision.
Pen pals again.
By
True.
yeah, exactly. It was a seat of the pants decision by Crusher to beam him up.
Pulaski wouldn't have pulled this shit.
Oh, she might have.
She might have just to annoy Picard.
Because remember, last season, when in Pen Pals, it's like, oh, well, what about this? It's like, yeah, no, obviously. Like, no, I think, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised if they started writing this episode not sure if Diana Muldaur was leaving yet.
Yeah, and I also think that, like, it's another example of how the Prime Directive, as well-meaning as it might be, has serious negative implications, and it's also not something that you can... It's diametrically opposed to human nature.
Yeah.
Right? Because, they're Starfleet officers. Their jobs are to help people.
And to be curious.
Yeah, and in this case, those two traits combined to create a situation that could have been devastating for the inhabitants. Yeah, I think there were some bad decisions made throughout. I think the fact that they should have found a way to get Troy out. That was a challenge.
Yeah. Like, I think for me, a way it could have been... Like, I don't dislike this kind of plot. I just feel like the way this one worked, none of it felt as developed as it could have been. And I feel like what may have been better was instead of... Like, maybe if they'd actually just spent more time with Riker and Troy trying to calm them down and not having everything go tits up in the process. And just seeing them actually try to... Because you really didn't get to see a lot of that. Like, so you mostly saw they showed up and tried gaslighting and...
Yeah.
Then Palmer showed up.
I think that might be trying to cram too much into an episode because I know, I can imagine, like, wanting to specifically get to the point where Picard has to intervene, Picard has to go dad on everyone and be like, listen, I'm in charge, let me fucking handle it because you guys are mucking it up, and have that very interesting, like, conversation. I really, really like the conversation with what's her name, Nuria, over, like, what would an even earlier civilization think of you? Because that's a great way of framing it.
I like
She's
that, too.
too dumb to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it was a great way of framing it, and it was, like, really good on Picard, and I think Picard really got some chances to shine, even if it was often making stupid decisions, but he did some good stuff.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think that his decisions were stupid. I think...
There just may have been better alternatives.
Well, I don't even know that, because I don't know how I would have handled this differently. So you got to assume your starting position is you have a guy that has been contaminated.
Yeah.
And that so you have there's two starting positions. You have one guy who has seen your ship and believes that you are a god.
Yep, and has been healed by you.
And has been healed from certain death by you. And you have a injured Starfleet human officer hiding in a cave somewhere.
Yeah.
So those are your starting positions. How do you deal with that? And I feel like sending down Riker and Troy to both investigate the depth of the contamination as well as look for the Starfleet guy, I feel like that's fine.
Did you see how much they loved playing dress up? It was so cute.
Yeah.
Troy did a little bounce. It was adorable.
Yeah, I like Troy saying, like, here the women precede their men. And made Riker walk in the back.
Nice. What was the other thing you were going to say, Jake?
So I feel like that was an okay decision. Like, that's what you would do. I think once the Mintakans found Palmer, then the stakes were raised because now it's not just one crazy dude going on about the Picard.
Some amount of proof.
Now we have an alien, basically, whatever. These guys don't know who this is, and so now we have this evidence, so now the situation's gotten worse, and now the priority becomes how do we extract our people. Now here's one place where I'm like, what was the plan? Because Troy says, hey, what's over there? And then she goes with them.
Yeah.
Well, they were supposed to get further away, except for OG had to come back.
I get that, yes. Okay.
And I assume she would have gotten out of their sight somehow?
Like, was that what they were banking on? Because...
Maybe.
Like,
that's what they were banking on with Riker and Palmer.
Well, Riker and Palmer, no. Their plan was to get everybody out of the room, and then Riker would take Palmer with him. And it just so happened that one old guy stayed behind, and Riker had to tie him up.
Yeah.
Tied some great knots, though.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, Riker and Palmer leaving would have worked fine if OG didn't have to come back to check the sundial. But I still don't see how they were thinking we'll get Troy out of here, because here's the thing. If she didn't manage to get out of their sight in enough time to get beamed up,
They would just have to
they
beam
would
her no matter what.
have gone back and they would have been, hey, your guy's gone. He tied up Oldman over here and Palmer's missing.
Did
so,
Gary Oldman?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
that was not a great plan, but I don't know what they could have done differently.
I have a not fully formed plan for how they could have foibled the Matakans. And that's, we know that, what's his fucking name again? Liko's had some kind of traumatic injury thing and came back spouting nonsense about the Picard. And that's when you tell him, oh, no, that was us. You go down there in your disguises and you say, oh, no, that was us. We were putting on a play and you must have walked in and then hit your head and now you think that the play actually happened. In fact, if you see Palmer, he's one of our actors. Send him back to us when you're done.
He got his head caught in a mechanical rice buffer. Buffed down his ears and his eyebrows.
Yeah, there was a nice scene there. It was very subtle in the background when they first find Palmer and one of them's like touching his ear.
Oh, really?
I missed that.
It's so weird in like his forehead.
Yeah, that I like. I guess for me, what I would like is drop everything involving kidnapping the leader woman and Picard talking to her.
Really?
And
that was one of the best scenes in the whole show.
Just have the episode be Riker and Troy doing damage control. Maybe even cut Palmer entirely. So that it really is just the conviction of this man's belief and sort of desperation to have some way to get his wife back versus rationality. Because another issue I had was the Mintakans were just so quick to be like, oh, yeah, I guess God's real.
I don't think they were, though. I don't think they were until Palmer came.
Nuria certainly wasn't.
Well, that's what I mean. But even, I still feel even with Palmer showing up, it's there could be plenty of logical explanations for why he looks so funny. Well, he doesn't look that different.
No, but he said that the Picard was looking for Palmer.
Yeah, well, they didn't know that was necessarily Palmer.
That's true, too.
There's other unexplained things, OG saw Liko fall.
Oh, that's right.
And gotta go down and bash her head, too.
And basically, to her mind, he died. So she saw that. So the fact
it's an immersive play. There!
The fact that he showed up again and was fully healed after falling that great distance... And talking about this other stuff, and then Palmer shows up.
See, that still I feel could work though, even if you exclude Palmer, because at least for some folks, the argument could again be it's no, but I saw him. He shouldn't be alive. Well, you're his daughter. What? And again, you could have had this schism. You could have had a more interesting discussion. I think.
I feel like that would have been stupid and boring.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like that would have been that would be less believable to me because I'd be yeah, I mean, okay, clearly you saw him fall. You're hysterical. You thought he was hurt worse than he was, and he just passed out, had a crazy dream, and woke up.
Yeah.
But the element of Palmer also, I think I know what you're talking about, Chris. I think that you're writing a different episode though, and I think the episode that you're writing is
that episode of the Orville.
The Orville episode where there has to be time.
Yeah.
Where there's time for this cult to develop and they can come back and then they say, oh shit, the contamination was worse than we thought. Now we have a big problem. And how do we deal with that? That's an interesting episode and that's dealt with in different ways in Star Trek and...
Yeah, in a way that's sort of a variant on a Nazi planet or gangster planet almost.
Yeah, so...
I guess what I was going for was less oh God, here's what's happened. It's more they know it could go this way, and they're trying to cut it off at the pass. Well, exactly. That's what I would like to see more focus on the trying to cut it off at the pass.
Yeah, I think shit just hit the fan too fast for it to really work. Yeah. And I think that, if that's the type of episode that you're interested in, I think that there'll be opportunities to see that in the future. So don't despair.
Well, to my mind, a pretty good Enterprise episode that does something trying to, prevent contamination they know they caused.
Are there tits in it?
No, it's actually mostly Reed and Archer.
So lots of tits in there.
I mean, there is that one episode with tits. Everyone's Discovery, first tits in Star Trek, and I'm you haven't seen Carbon Creek.
Yeah, but you don't really see them. You see a silhouette, don't you?
It's pretty detailed. I think you see. If I wanted to rub one out, I would go for Carbon Creek before the.
Well, yeah, because that fucking Klingon shit was fucking creepy.
Hey. I think Laurel is gorgeous.
No, I don't mean she's not attractive. I just mean, like, at the time it almost felt like maybe she's raping him. What's happening? Like, I feel like you don't know enough
That's
at the
true.
time. So it's kind of like, ugh.
This is true.
Spoiler alert for Discovery.
There's some pretty.
They've
They
seen
come
it.
close to showing Jerry Ryan, but they never get to the business end.
Who?
7
7 and 9, Voyager.
You can see her fucking pussy lips through her fucking
Yeah, but
whatever jumpsuit. What is there left to see?
boobies.
T-Taz. When am I gonna get some fucking full frontal dick on my Star Trek?
Yeah, maybe next season of Discovery.
Yeah, but it'll
Like
be.
Saru.
I was gonna say, but it'll be Saru. It'll have like 3 prongs.
It has its own.
Oh, I
threat
see
ganglia.
your threat ganglia are acting.
Mhm.
Oh
Most of
man,
It'll be cloven.
I'm gonna go home and write some
How does that
fan
work?
Because he
fiction.
has hooves, so you'd have a cloven.
That's not how animals with hooves
What does
work.
a cloven dick even look
It's
like?
just a dick with 2 heads. It's like 2 acorns on a little twig.
Yikes! I'm picturing like one of those weird fluffy trees from like a Dr. Seuss book.
There you go.
No,
There you
Dr.
go.
Seuss again. Ames, did you have anything else for this?
I don't
Like
know
you were
if
trying
I
to say
do.
something.
I don't know if I have anything else to say about this one, but I liked it.
I didn't like hate it. I just didn't love it.
Yeah, I just thought the execution was lacking. Also, I didn't know why they had to be proto-Vulcans. That was stupid.
Well, because they
I-
wanted to be like, they have logical minds like Vulcans.
Yeah, they're figuring things out. They're looking into their own past. They're doing their own archaeology, which is kind of
No,
I also
But,
think that, like, from a production standpoint, they're probably like,
We got all these ears.
we got all these ears, and let's establish that, like, Vulcanism is a look that is recurring.
You gotta do the ears special for every person now.
That's true.
That's true.
But they may have been reusing Romulan foreheads because some of the heads didn't seem to fit, especially Bobby Hill's there.
Yeah.
Foreheads.
I will say I wasn't a big fan of that very, very final scene, where you get the little yellowy shawl thing.
Oh yeah, that like. Now what did we learn today,
Yes.
children? Yeah, like I said, it felt
Thanks,
like a,
Professor X!
it felt like a '90s TV show, like the little lesson of the day blurb.
Yeah, the very, very last lines of the episode were, "Remember my people," and Picard says, "Always." And then it ends right there. There's not even, like, another shot of, like, them panning away
Yeah,
or
no.
showing the ship fly off. It's
Again.
just, done!
Although to be fair, he does keep that shawl thing.
He does. It shows. That's probably the most seen prop
Yeah,
in the rest of Star Trek.
yeah,
He keeps it draped over his chair.
yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Well, folks listening at home or in the car, let us know what you think about. Help us settle the score here. Let us know is Who Watches the Watchers top or bottom or in the middle? Let us know. And in order to let us know, you can find us on Facebook. Search for A Star to Steer Her By. That's the name of our podcast. You can also send us a tweet on Twitter
That's the one.
at SSHB Podcast, or you can send us a tumble on Tumblr.
I don't know that's how tumbles work.
There are messages on Tumblr. I
There you
think.
go. Tumble
there?
us.
We haven't gotten any
We have to
tumble
turn it
message.
on.
Well,
Ah.
tumble
Have
us.
we got any tweets?
Also, SSHB Podcast. Of course, you can also subscribe to listen to this podcast in your Apple iTunes on your iPhone or your Apple Macintosh computer. Or your, maybe, I don't think they have iTunes for Windows. Well, they might.
Well, I mean, you can certainly have iTunes on your Windows machine. I don't
That's
think
true.
you cannot have it on.
Your Android.
Right.
Or your Windows phone.
Windows Phone 8.
But what about the Google Pixel?
How do I get it on my
That's an
flip
Android
phone?
phone. No, that you can't.
Magic. You need Q.
That you can't do.
Does your flip phone have a micro SD port?
I don't know what that is.
Because you could, in theory, side-load it onto a micro SD card that you then put in your flip phone if your flip phone
I
has a
don't
micro
think.
SD
I
port.
doubt it does.
Okay.
But anyway, those are some various ways you can subscribe. You can also find us on SoundCloud.com.
Mm-hmm.
Start to see her by. Search for it. Google iTunes. Google's version of iTunes. iStore. Google.
The what?
I don't know. Play Store. Play the Google Store. Play podcasts. Any other podcast thing. So, and if you do that, next week you'll hear us talking about 2 additional episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation.
Yay.
The Bonding and Booby Trap.
You said the.
I did. So that's TB and BT.
Yeah.
There you go.
There we go.
So that's all we have, I think, for today. My name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And for once, this is Kevin.
Good to see you, Kevin.
Kevin! Sayonara. That's not how that goes.
No.
Sayonara.
Hasta marinara.
Oh, God.
Go right off and go fuck yourself.
I don't
Is that
know.
also from
I didn't get
Moulin
it.
Rouge?
It was the Moulin Rouge, the chorus
Oh, damn it.
part to it. Because it's like in French and I have no fucking idea what they say.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?
There you go.
Would you like to sleep with me tonight?
Oh, nice.
Is that what that means?
Banging.
Does Picard ever say that? Because
I think he does.
French is a dead language, okay?
We'll always have Moulin Rouge.
I've actually never seen the movie.
I've never seen the movie either. Is that what, Jude Law? Is that right?
No, Ewan McGregor. No, yes, Ewan McGregor.
Is it Ewan McGregor?
Why? I just said I had never seen it. I have no clue.
You know,
Yeah,
for,
neither mine.
for many years though, Ewan McGregor and Jude Law were kind of interchangeable. So I
A
can
little
be
bit. I mean, they don't
I
look
can
that
be
much alike, though, is the thing.
I
They're
mistook.
both like the dapper British men.
That's true, and they're about the same
Yeah, but
age,
so is
and they
Hugh
don't ride
Grant,
during
and
the
you
same-
would never say Hugh Grant.
No,
and Jude Law were
but
the
he's
same.
in a specific kind of movie.
He's also a little older. He's from a different generation.
He's also a lot better looking than either of them.
No.
What?
No.
Lies.
No. I think the
Hugh
prettiest...
Grant?
I think Hugh
I
You
think
put
Jude
Hugh
Law-
Grant
Jude Law
above
is
Ewan
probably-
McGregor?
I would put Jude Law above Ewan McGregor.
Well,
I think they're tied. Honestly, they're
I
both
would
pretty
say
pretty bad.
Brat.
in their prime, I would say McGregor, then Jude Law.
Oh, White
Then
Cat's giving
Hugh
him a
Grant.
kiss.
Wow, poor Hugh Grant.
This is
Nothing
actually
against
turning
him, but
romantic.
the other two are more my type, apparently.
You know, honestly, I can't even look at Ewan McGregor because he was in fucking awful Star Wars movies.
He was
was
good
in
in it, though.
He was like the good thing about
was
those
the
movies.
highlight.
Other
Yeah,
than
but
Jetster.
Other than the fight
Other
choreo,
than
which
what?
is
And
great.
you get to see his
The
schlong in
50s
Trainspotting.
50s Diner.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, Trainspotting, that was a movie.
Yeah, but wasn't Colin Firth in that? No, no. Colin Farrell.
No.
He wasn't?
Trainspotting? No.
Colin
Who else
Mockery.
was in that?
Ewan McGregor and a bunch of Englishmen whose names escape me.
Famous Canadian actor Colin Mockery in Scottish damn boil
Heroin
film.
movie. That would be
Is
amazing.
Colin Mockery Canadian?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
They make that joke every single weekend. Who's
I
line?
haven't seen Whose Line in so long. Anyway, we seem to have run out of things to say
Yes.
about, because I've been ranking British actors and now we're talking about Colin Mockery.
Wow, everybody in Trainspotting's name is Ewan.
It also has.
That's not true, but there are two
What's her
Ewans.
name? something. The girl in that movie.
Kelly MacDonald?
Kelly MacDonald. She's attractive. She was in.
Ewan McDonald.